Hey everyone, so today we're going to be talking about parrying in video games. So in video games like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro to a certain extent, basically any video game with a parry system, parries generally look something like this. This is the Dark Souls style parry. Where your opponent is stunned after it happens, leaving a window open.
You block with perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Your opponent is stunned, allowing you to riposte,
stab them, do
massive
damage.
And that's cool. And we understand from a gameplay perspective that the kind of timing that happens in fencing isn't really possible. When you're on a controller and you're interfacing with a thing that's not you, that split-second timing that would happen in fencing doesn't actually happen. So we need to build these things into games that allow us to feel super cool.
Yeah, you need to feel powerful as a video game character.
But in reality, it doesn't quite work like that. This is what it would really look like if you had a weapon, or two weapons. Yeah. So the parry and the riposte come at the same time with two weapons. If you have a sword and shield, it would be the same way. You would parry with the shield and attack at the same time. That's what it's set up to do. Two weapons is able to defend and attack at the same time. A parry means block. Mm-hmm. Block means parry.
Just stopping a blow.
Just stopping a blow. I know
thrust or a cut.
In the comments we've got some people arguing with us on that, saying that a parry is something special and it does something. No. What you're thinking of usually is a prix de fer, prize of steel.
Or like a parry plus.
Parry plus something. So like if we're here and let's say Matt thrusts at me and I do a beat that sends his sword out of the way and allows me to then do something, that is a beat. It's a prix de fer of sorts. It's a defensive action that moves his blade out of the way. Or if I cut at him and he's the thrust, so if he can find this, I hit your hand, sorry.
Fine.
If he can find this and he can thrust at the same time, that is just a block and he's added in the thrust. And there's a bunch of them. There's binds. So let's say Matt cut at me here, or thrust at me. Let's say he thrusted me.
Okay.
I can find a bind from here where I move his blade out of the way and I make an opening for him.
It's harder to say. It's harder to think of things like that as clean-cut parries because the cut is a defined action.
Yes.
Probing around for thrust is a continuous process.
Yeah.
But there is still back and forth. You can feel it when you're doing it.
So when we think parry, what I think of, I'm just cutting five. I think of this. That is a parry. That's all it does. The only thing that is going to do to me is close that line of attack. I will not be affected. I'm going to cut at you kind of hard. Can you parry?
Yeah.
I'm fine. I can keep going. He parried that with perfect timing.
I'm fine too.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm undeterred. The only thing is I am in a less advantageous position here. Can you parry?
Yeah.
Because now my sword is on the outside of his sword. I can't get him here. I have to pull it back and switch lines. He has an opening to me. So he can riposte to one of my openings.
He could try for your head, but your sword is
my sword's in the way,
so
he can swipe down.
And go here.
But let's say it was a parry to, let's do so that the audience can see a parry to 3.
Okay.
So if I cut in here, same thing. He's got, we both are fine. There's no big thing. You could do a beat parry, which is a little bit different than a beat. Whereas if Matt cut at me somewhere, I could put force into my parry and I can knock it out of the way a little bit. But that doesn't work much because now I'm over here too.
And if I'm not giving too hard of a cut and I'm a good fencer, I might see him doing that and I might just step back and disengage and now I'm doing this.
So big timing, parry, stuns.
One other thing that just popped into my head, sorry.
Yeah.
Parries sometimes in like media games, I don't know, anime, whatever, are this thing where like you have to like stop their sword dead in its tracks.
Yeah.
They're actually a more subtle thing than that. You can do stuff like this.
Yep, that's a yield parry.
And honestly, once you've taken the seating parry,
thank you.
You can do things like that. Once you've taken the danger
out of the blade,
out of the force.
This isn't. So yeah, let's do a parry that I push through. Yeah, is that what you're thinking of?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So if I cut at his 3 so they can see it, and he blocks this, and then I just keep going and I hit his hand somehow, but he goes, so go to attack me now. Go to attack me. That's not going to hurt him at all.
Probably not.
Not at all.
Not
even if
closing, no.
Even like, let's say he does parry and he moves on to his riposte, and I just keep going. sure, I hit him in the neck. I had no force behind that. You don't need to stop the sword dead. You just need to take its energy away. Or is that what you were gonna say?
Yeah, that was it. And then just the idea of it not having to be like rock solid and rigid. You know, you can let it go past you.
Yeah.
You can follow through with other things. It's more just you need to take the danger out of it.
One of my favorite parries is I used Krumpal, which is a type of cut, but I use it to parry. So as Matt's coming in with anything, I can beat the blade to the side just enough that it misses and I can come somewhere else. So I'm using that kind of beating motion, but just enough to clear it out of the way. So if he cuts at me, I can hit that to the side in such a way that I stop his attack. So the parry is just the block. All the other stuff we put on top of it, all of the extra stuff, doesn't really
requires a parry.
It all requires that parry. Yeah. So let's look at some fencing.
Also stamina, not an issue when you're. This doesn't cost me really any more energy than just standing here during a fight.
The whole idea of a parry taking up stamina, it doesn't. I can sit here and parry all day like this. Watch.
He could hit this sword.
Yeah. I'm tired. Matt's not.
I'm fine. I mean, it felt a little weird and vibrating in my hands, but it wasn't making me. My arms aren't hurting.
Decent cuts too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, stamina's not really a thing.
Well, it is in general.
It is in general,
but it's not any
from
worse from parrying.
No, it's not. Like
you just get tired from all of it.
Honestly, when I am tired in a fencing match, I parry. If I'm getting tired, I'll stand back and I'll just parry as I recuperate my energy.
Take some breaths. Yeah.
Take some breaths. Attacking is the thing that's difficult.
And a lot of moving, big footwork can tire you out quickly.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Defending is generally less energy draining than attacking.
Right.
So
that's what I think. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's watch some fencing. So this is what real fencing looks like with parries and ripostes and whatnot. Notice the timing differences. There aren't a lot of gaps. So he made beat and thrust very quickly. A little bit, not much. Cross guard. Damn. How's your hand?
Yep, good one.
You got me a little bit, but not enough, I think, to stop.
That nice cut was in there.
Enough?
Yeah.
Okay, I think so. See how these parries are working? So especially in that last exchange, Matt cut at me here. I parried it, I reached around and hit him here. He didn't quite make that parry, but if he had, his next move reached around and I think I was barely able to get that one, but he would have got me there. They're not like they are, no one's getting stunned. We just move to the next move.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Got something to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say that there is actually a game that tries to get this right. Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's cool.
They come pretty close, too.
What about Hellish Court?
That one's pretty close. Hellish Court is pretty close, too. I just personally, I haven't played it lately, but it feels like it kind of has a lot of bumps to iron out.
Yeah,
But it's the closest thing to a real, like, fencing game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Hellish Court.
Are you feeling tired after any of those parries?
Not after the parries.
No, it's the attacks. The attacks are what get you.
Yeah, the moving and the attacking.
Moving and attacking. No. Just placed it.
I tried to.
Yeah, I just placed it. So I didn't actually get Matt. He wrapped so this is something else he could do. He wrapped his hand around my sword.
I could grab the cross piece
he
too.
Couldn't quite get it, and I was able to block there, but yeah, it wasn't, and I parried him too. He wasn't stunned. So that was a beat, and you didn't hit my hand. Is that enough on the back of your arm?
Maybe.
You placed back here? I couldn't tell if it was flat or if it was...
It wasn't clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of the times in fencing, you'll hit your opponent, and it'll be something like, if you can see this, flat, or it'll be just a scrape, or I'll like brush him with the tip. It wouldn't. So we're not fencing right now to first blood. We're fencing to somebody not being able to fence anymore.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That was a fun exchange.
Yeah, it was. I gotta make my head parries a little higher or something.
might have gone through my hand.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, that was a good.
Sorry.
That was very fun.
Sorry for the follow-up.
You thrust right into my hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would have stopped me.
All right, yeah, probably.
Whoa.
Good thrust into the wrist.
Yeah.
We both like sprung into action
Yeah.
at the same time.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. I didn't really hit it because of his hand.
Oh man, sorry.
No, it's not you. I just need to. I need to
No, I
repair,
know. I just it sucks for you.
I need to repair this glove a little bit.
Yeah. I think that first thrust got my wrist.
It did. I didn't put much pressure, and I think you put pressure into it.
I don't know if it was me or you, but it was enough.
Okay, let's do 2 more.
Okay. Oh, good thrust right here.
Got my hand on the way back. So that is some more realistic sword combat. As you can see, the thrusts. Yeah, I didn't fix this. The thrusts. The parries don't make us stop. In fact, you just keep going. So if one person parries, you cut back and they parry, 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 parry. A lot of the times we got into a multi-parry.
Yeah,
It's actually a really fun fencing bout, that one was.
From the point of view of the person being parried, you know it immediately,
Yeah.
and you know that you should be either trying to counter their response or backing up, moving, doing something. You're not just going to stand there.
One of the things that they teach in Olympic saber and foil is something called right of way.
Yep.
And what it does is it punishes someone for not having self-preservation instincts.
Right.
If there is an attack coming at you, you need to parry and defend yourself. If you are parried, you need to prepare for your opponent to attack back. So basically the way it works in Olympic fencing is, if I am coming at Matt, I have the right of way. If Matt doesn't do anything, he just hits me, I get the point, because he wasn't having self-preservation instincts. If I'm coming at Matt and he parries me, and I just hit him again and he hits me, it's Matt's point, because I ignored the fact that he parried my first weapon. Now, we don't use that with what we do, because rule sets make it less...
Well, it's something that should just happen naturally.
Yes.
If you're a good fencer and you are fighting for real,
Yeah.
you will not want to risk some silly little attack just because you think you could, I don't know, survive a cut, which isn't going to happen.
I teach my beginning students right of way
Yeah.
as a way to build self-preservation instincts,
Yeah.
and then once they get into the other weapons, I take it away. But that thing, it's thinking that I am not going to attack you and leave myself exposed to get a point because I want to live to the next battle, and I'm not going to ignore your attack in order to get you. There's still a lot of doubles. There's still a lot of times where we both get hit. That's just how fighting works. In combat, a lot of people just die.
There were a lot of duels in France before it was outlawed in the Renaissance or Middle Ages, maybe, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
A whole big proportion of it was both people dying
Yeah,
because
it's just messy.
it's a sharp, dangerous thing, and you're mad at someone, you're trying to hurt each other, and stuff happens.
Yeah, sorts of stuff happens. So we teach right of way as a way to my students to keep that preservation instinct. But once we get into this, which is considered, I don't know, like you call it HEMA, you call it swordsmanship, whatever. Once
It's
we get
historical
swordsmanship, once you get
Yeah.
into more of this stuff, there are no rules. But as a fencer, you need to have that self-preservation instinct. Otherwise, you're just whacking on each other really hard. Like that's what Behurt is. That's what the full armor thing is. Because they
M1, I think.
they don't need to parry because they have armor for that. We're doing, like we said in our previous video, we're doing shirt fencing,
Well,
which
and
means
they're not using armor weapons either.
no,
So
they're
I don't know
not.
what the hell they're doing.
Tourney kind of tournament
It's
kind of
just
style.
like, I'm thinking of the stuff I've seen that's in a ring.
I've seen that too.
That's just like bro stuff with swords in your arm.
I'm not here to diss anybody's
Sorry,
thing. This-
I kind of am.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not here to talk down on anybody. It's not my thing. I like this. I like the technique that goes into it. I really love all the nuance of this combat. But yeah, so parries in video games, not realistic. We understand they need to be there because you have to have that kind of gamified experience so that the player can feel like a total badass. But in fencing, there isn't any kind of stun lock. It's just blah 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 blah.
I mean, maybe if I smash you with my pommel,
Yeah, if you get hit in the face with a pommel, then you got something.
you might get stunned, but then you're going to be dead very quickly.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and parry.
Yeah.
Parry the like
Parry
button.
and
Which
repost.
does that mean I'm not gonna do it?
Don't let the like button
Parry you
Yeah.
and repost the subscribe button.
Yes. And repost this video.
Repost. You know, I'm dyslexic, so I spell repost the wrong way all the time. I'm always trying to. Anyway, so
I said repost.
I know, but yeah, I get it. Repost.
Yes, whatever.
Repost.
Share the video. That's what I'm saying.
Share the video. We're done. We're
Yep,
done.
bye.
Bye.